Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel. Joe Biden is committed to not campaigning. He says he will stick to his stay-at-home strategy. This guy is really expecting, or at least his party's expecting, for him to get elected. And what, stay in the bunker of the White House forever? This guy has never come... Do you realize that gopher thing in Pennsylvania, Punxsutawney Phil, has seen his shadow more often than Joe Biden has? Which is kind of a good thing, because if Joe Biden had fur like Punxsutawney Phil, he'd be sniffing it all the time going, oh yeah, oh, creepy Uncle Joe. In an interview, Biden says he will stick to his stay-at-home strategy. Amid the Cootie pandemic, Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden said in an interview that aired on Sunday, wow, he actually had one, that he had no plans of being more aggressive campaign schedule with little more than 2 months to go before the November 3rd election, not to be confused with when we find out the results. Thanks, mail-in ballots, for destroying America's confidence. Added, if he could win presidential election from his Delaware home, Biden answered, we will. Maybe that's what they'll tell him as he stays down there, and he will think that for the rest of his life, which, mentally speaking, sadly is coming and going. I don't say that with any joy. Biden and his running mate, Kamala Harris of California, gave their first interview to ABC News. We're going to follow the science. What the scientists tell us, Biden said. Okay, everybody who's ever read science fiction, or it's more popular in the written word than it is in the movie version, but everybody who's into sci-fi is like, you're listening only to the scientist? That does not end well. I don't care what Superman tells you. All the other ones. No, do not. No, iRobot. And the list goes on and on. Biden, 77, which means he will be older than Ronald Reagan when Ronald Reagan left office. And lest we forget, Ronnie was fading in and out too. They just covered for him like they did Woodrow Wilson. And isn't it the same left party that was screaming up and down that Trump needed to go because of the 25th Amendment because he had mental issues, but they're okay with Biden? And wasn't it the left who's been screaming forever that they're the diverse group, and they are, boy, do they love to divide. And they put the old white guy on there. And what happened to Jamaica? Did Jamaica get completely blown off the map? Because according to every Democrat, all of a sudden, Kamala Harris is Indian descent and African American. It's like, what happened? Her father is from Jamaica. Put it back on the map. Quit trying to pretend like, oh, they don't want to say Jamaica because then that reveals that her whole family owns slaves. Biden, 77, who leads Republican presidential Donald Trump in opinion polls, has restricted his campaign travel and avoided crowds since the start of the Cootie outbreak. Yeah, way back in March. This is August. And boy, can you tell by the temperature right now. The Cootie outbreak culminating in last week's virtual Democratic convention snooze fest, in which Biden accepted his party's presidential nomination from an empty hotel ballroom in Delaware. Empty for empty. Seems fair. By contrast, Donald J. Trump, 74, has mounted an increasingly aggressive travel schedule, traveling last week to the battleground state of Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. You might know Wisconsin. They're famous for being burned down last night. On Monday, Trump will accept the Republican nomination. Okay, blah, blah, blah. The point is this. This guy really thinks he can campaign without campaigning. The word campaign comes from the military word, to go out and fight a war. It's the Euro theater, it's the campaign, it's the Northern campaign, it's the Southern campaign, darling. And no, he thinks he's going to win, or he's being told he can win without campaigning. You can't win without campaigning. Now, tonight, we finally get to find out, well, actually, we have to wait till tomorrow, if those horrible ratings that came in for Trump, bite my tongue, I did, horrible ratings that came in for Biden last week at the DNC. Let's see this week what Trump's ratings are. Now, not only were Biden's and the DNC's ratings trash last week, But Biden didn't get a bump. In fact, Trump got the bump out of the DNC's hate America, America's filled with racist, and oh, there are no riots occurring. They're all peaceful protests. Yeah, out of that facade that nobody tuned into or bought into. Now, if the opposite should happen starting tonight with Trump's and the ratings are through the roof, then you better buy a lot of money investing in diapers, because those people in Hollywood are all going to be filling theirs up tonight. If the ratings shoot through the roof, then they know the gig is up. It's over. And all this time that they thought they were winning during the cootie, nobody. We are not done speaking to you. We told you through the Fandom Menace and others, we're sick of your get woke, get broke. Look at Goodyear. Look at Netflix. The situation with Goodyear being that they're telling, oh no, we do not allow people to talk about political issues unless it's racial equity, not equality, equity. Racial equality isn't political. Racial equity, oh, absolutely, because racial equity is determining who wins based on skin color. It is absolutely, it's full-fledged head-on racism. So yeah, that's a little on the political side. Okay, and then you've got the situation with Cuties over on Netflix. If you don't know what Cuties is, you probably don't want to know. But Cuties is a new documentary. No, it's not. It's a new film produced in France, and it's going to be on Netflix, maybe. The backlash is pretty ferocious, and it's about 11-year-old girls who are Islamic Muslims that all of a sudden want to take twerking classes, and they wear twerking-styled clothes. 11-year-olds. Now, you know pedestrian means to cross the street, and you know that as PHILE, file, means to be in love with something. So clearly these people that produce that movie love to cross the street because they are ped and they love it files. Yeah, so they must love crossing the street. And they've all been shut down. And if the ratings come in humongous for the DNCs, then those diaper stocks you bought, wow, are they going to pay off? And I certainly hope you use the money that you took out of Netflix and Goodyear and put it into diaper stocks, because they're going to be filling them up nonstop until the election, and then they're going to the hanging chads of Al Gore and George Bush, and the Russia of Donald J. Trump, and the post office hoax of Donald J. Trump. All of these ridiculous scams, because Democrats never lose elections. Look, we'll prove it to you. We're not going to leave. Thanks, Stacey Abrams. You did lose in Georgia. Go home. We'll see you in the future.